I'm Daniel Rourke, State Trooper. 12 years on patrol, most of it overnight on Route 19 between mile markers 63 and 94. 31 miles of two-lane blacktop, light traffic after 10 p.m., heavier during harvest. We log everything. Mileage, time on scene, weather, road conditions. Every stop, every assist, every tow gets documented. The logs are digital now, backed up to dispatch and archived quarterly. That's procedure. That's how we build a record. That's how we explain things when they need explaining. January 17th. 0143 hours. Temperature 28 degrees Fahrenheit. Clear sky. No precipitation. Barometric pressure holding steady. Roads dry. Minimal frost accumulation on the shoulders. Visibility unlimited under a half moon. I'm northbound past mile marker 71 when I see headlights in a field, passenger side up, about 60 yards off the shoulder. The beams are angled skyward, cutting through the cold air like searchlights. No skid marks visible from the road, no debris scattered on the asphalt. No gouges in the shoulder gravel. I radio dispatch. Single vehicle off-road, no fire, no smoke, no other parties visible. ETA to scene, 2 minutes. Dispatch logs it at 0145 and confirms. No other units in the area. No prior calls from civilians. Just me and whatever happened out there. I pull onto the shoulder, 40 feet south of where the vehicle left the road. I activate my rear flashers, rotate the spotlight, and aim it into the field. The car is a late model sedan, silver under the sodium glow, resting on its roof in shallow grass. The wheels are still, no movement, no sound except the idle of my cruiser and the faint hiss of the wind. I grab my flashlight, my portable radio, and my notepad. I approach on foot, scanning the shoulder as I walk. The ground is frozen. My boots crunch through a thin crust of ice with each step. I'm looking for the entry point, where the vehicle left the pavement, where it tore through the gravel, where it broke through the frost line. There's nothing. The shoulder is intact. The frost is smooth, undisturbed except for my own footprints. I reach the vehicle. It's a Honda Accord, maybe 3 years old, silver paint still gleaming under my flashlight. The roof is compressed, driver's side more than passenger, in a way that's consistent with a rollover. The A-pillars are buckled. The door frames are tweaked inward. Classic high-energy impact. But the rest doesn't fit. All 4 tires are intact, still holding air. I press my hand against the sidewall of the front driver tire. Firm, no deflation. The tread shows normal wear, no flat spots, no blowout damage. The glass is perfect. Windshield, side windows, rear window, all intact. No starring, no cracks, no chips. Even the mirrors are still attached. I crouch near the front bumper. The paint has no scrapes, no transfer from fence wire, no mud splatter, no scratches from brush or posts. The grille is clean. The undercarriage, visible now that the car is upside down, is spotless. No soil, no grass embedded in the frame rails, no fluid leaks. I circle the vehicle slowly, documenting everything in my head and on my notepad. There are no tire tracks leading from the road to this spot. None. The frost in every direction is smooth and unbroken, except for the path I just made walking in. I check for occupants. I lean down and aim my flashlight through the driver's window. Both front airbags have deployed. The driver's side bag is draped over the steering wheel, deflated, powder residue visible on the fabric. The driver's seatbelt is fastened, still locked in place. The passenger seatbelt is unfastened, hanging loose. No blood on the airbags. No blood on the seats. No blood on the console, the dash, the door panels. The interior smells faintly of air freshener, pine maybe, and nothing else. No fuel, no burning, no bodily fluids. I see a gym duffel bag in the back seat, partially unzipped. A phone charging cable dangles from the center console, the connector end swaying slightly in the cold breeze coming through the gap between the roof and the frame. I stand and key my radio. Dispatch Trooper Rourke. Vehicle is unoccupied. No visible injuries, no occupants on scene. Requesting tow and secondary unit for documentation and site security. Dispatch confirms at 0152. Estimated arrival for the tow, 15 minutes. While I wait, I walk the perimeter of the scene. I'm looking for footprints, drag marks, blood trail, clothing, personal effects, anything that suggests an occupant exited the vehicle and walked away, or was thrown during the rollover and landed outside the immediate impact zone. I find nothing. The frost is undisturbed in every direction except the single line of prints I've made myself. No scuff marks, no compression in the grass, no indication that anyone stood here, knelt here, crawled here, or ran from here. I extend my search to a 50-yard radius. I'm sweeping my flashlight in arcs, checking behind the low brush, scanning the ditch line that runs parallel to the highway. Sometimes in a rollover, occupants are ejected. Sometimes they land 30, 40, even 50 yards from the vehicle. Sometimes they're unconscious. Sometimes worse, nothing. The field is empty. The night is silent except for the occasional passing car on Route 19, headlights washing over me briefly before disappearing north or south. I return to the vehicle and photograph the scene. I take wide-angle shots from the road, showing the full context. The highway, the shoulder, the field, the car. I take close-ups of the roof, the compressed A-pillars, the intact glass, the clean undercarriage. I photograph the tires, the wheel wells, the paint. I photograph the interior through each window, driver's side, passenger side, rear. I note the V-line on a metal plate visible through the windshield, just below the base of the rearview mirror. I write it in my notepad and then walk back to my cruiser. I sit in the driver's seat, pull up the mobile data terminal, and run the VN through the state database. The results come back in 4 seconds. Owner, Raymond Aldrich. Male, age 41. Address, 1847 Oakmont Drive, county seat, 18 miles south of my current location. No wants, no warrants, no flags. Vehicle not reported stolen. Registration current, expires November. Insurance active, liability and comprehensive. I pull his driver's license photo. Clean-shaven, brown hair, neutral expression. No criminal history. No outstanding citations. No prior accidents on record in the state system. I dial the phone number listed on the registration. It rings once, twice, 3 times, 4. Voicemail. A generic automated message. The person you are calling is not available. Please leave a message. I leave one. Mr. Aldrich, this is Trooper Daniel Rourke with the State Patrol. I'm calling regarding your vehicle, a silver Honda Accord. Please contact me at your earliest convenience. I give my badge number and the direct callback number to dispatch. At 0208, headlights appear from the south. The tow truck. I recognize the rig. It's Vic's, the same contractor we use for most of the work in this sector. He's been doing this for 15 years, knows the roads, knows the protocol, doesn't ask stupid questions. Vic parks behind my cruiser, leaves his amber beacon rotating, and walks over. He's wearing a heavy coat, work gloves, and a knit cap pulled low. His breath makes clouds in the cold air. Where is it? He asks, I point. 60 yards out, upside down. No skid, no debris, no tracks. He looks at me, then looks at the field, then looks back at me. How? That's the question. We walk out together. Vic circles the car the same way I did, crouches at the same spots, touches the tires, checks the glass. He takes his own photos with his phone, standard procedure for the insurance claim file. He doesn't say much. When he's done, he stands and hooks his thumbs in his coat pockets. No skid, he says. No gouge in the shoulder. No fence down. No posts torn. How'd it get out here, Danny? I don't answer. I don't have one. Vic goes back to the truck and brings the winch cable. He hooks the frame near the rear axle, checks the tension, and signals me to stand clear. The winch motor whines, the cable pulls taut, and slowly, carefully, the vehicle rights itself. The roof groans as it settles back onto the wheels. The suspension creaks. The frame flexes slightly, then holds. We tow it back to the impound lot, 18 miles north of the scene. I follow in my cruiser. Dispatch logs us off scene at 0223. At the lot, we maneuver the vehicle under the overhead sodium vapor lights. The light is harsh, greenish, and it makes everything look clinical. Vic unhooks the tow rig and steps back. I approach the car again, this time with better visibility. The roof damage is undeniable. The compression is deep, symmetrical on the driver's side, less so on the passenger side. The A-pillars, those are the structural supports at the front corners of the roof, are buckled inward by several inches. The door frames are tweaked. The roof panel itself has a crease running from front to back, just off center. But the paint is flawless. I run my gloved hand over the surface. Smooth, no scratches. No scuffs, no transfer marks from gravel, dirt, grass, or fence wire. I crouch and check the wheel wells again. Clean, no packed dirt. No grass clippings. No mud. I open the driver's door. It resists slightly, frame damage, but it opens. The interior light doesn't come on. The battery is likely too low after the airbag deployment. I use my flashlight. The interior smells faintly of air freshener, just like before. Pine scent, no fuel smell, no burnt rubber, no odor of bodily fluids. I check the odometer through the steering wheel spokes. 41,214 miles. I check the glove box. Inside, the vehicle registration, an insurance card, and the owner's manual, still in its plastic sleeve. Nothing unusual. I check under the driver's seat. Nothing. Under the passenger seat. Nothing. I open the center console. Sunglasses, a tire pressure gauge, loose change, quarters and dimes. Nothing else. The gym bag in the back seat is unzipped halfway. I pull it forward carefully and open it fully. Inside, a folded towel, a pair of running shoes, a plastic water bottle half full, and a small zippered pouch containing earbuds. That's it. No wallet, no phone, no keys. I step back and take more photos. Then I locate the airbag control module. In most vehicles, it's mounted under the center console or beneath the front seats. In this Accord, it's under the driver's seat, a small black box about the size of a deck of cards, with a wiring harness clipped into one end. Most newer vehicles, anything made after 2013, have event data recorders built into the airbag control module. They log data in the seconds before and during a crash. Vehicle speed, brake application, throttle position, seatbelt status, impact angle, G-forces. It's not quite a black box, but it's close, and it's admissible in court. I disconnect the module carefully, label it with the case number and the VIN, and seal it in an evidence bag. I'll send it to our forensics tech in the morning for a data download. Vic finishes his paperwork, hands me a copy for the case file, and climbs back into his tow rig. "Let me know what you find out," he says. "I will." He drives off. I lock the impound gate and return to patrol. Dispatch logs me back in service at 03:15. The rest of the shift is quiet. I make my usual circuit, north to mile marker 94, turn around, south to 63, turn around, repeat. The roads are nearly empty. A few long-haul trucks, a late shift worker heading home. Nothing unusual, but I keep thinking about the field, the clean undercarriage, the intact glass, the lack of tracks, the absence of anything that makes sense. At 0700 hours, end of shift, I park at the station and try Raymond Aldrich's number again from my cell phone. It rings 4 times. Voicemail. I leave a second message. "Mr. Aldrich, this is Trooper Rourke again. I need to speak with you regarding your vehicle. It's been impounded following an incident. Please call me back as soon as possible." I drive to his registered address. It's a duplex on the east side of town, an older building, 2 stories, vinyl siding that was probably white once but is now a dingy gray. The address, 1847 Oakmont Drive, is on the 2nd floor. I climb the exterior stairs and knock on the door. No answer. I knock again, louder. Still nothing. I check the mailbox mounted next to the door. It has mail inside, 2 days' worth, maybe more. Grocery store flyers, a utility bill, a credit card offer. I pull one of my business cards from my jacket, write the case number on the back, and wedge it into the door jamb. Then I head home. Later that morning, around 10 a.m., I check in with dispatch by phone. I ask if there have been any missing person reports filed in the last 72 hours matching the name Raymond Aldrich, age 41, or any unidentified individuals admitted to local hospitals with injuries consistent with a vehicle rollover. Dispatch runs the query. No missing person reports. No hospital admissions matching the profile. No walk-ins at urgent care centers. I run his name through DMV employment records. It's a gray area legally. Technically, I need investigative cause, but I justify it as procedural follow-up on an unoccupied crash vehicle. The system returns a result. Raymond Aldrich is listed as a facilities coordinator for the county school district. I call the main office. The receptionist answers on the 3rd ring. I identify myself and ask if Raymond Aldrich is available. "He's not in," she says. "He called in sick a couple days ago. We haven't seen him since." "Has he contacted anyone since then?" "He texted his supervisor on the 15th early morning. Said he wasn't feeling well and would be out for a few days. That's the last we heard. Can you give me the exact timestamp on that text?" She puts me on hold. 2 minutes later, she comes back. January 15th, 6:30 a.m. 2 days before I found the vehicle in the field, I thank her and hang up. 3 days later, the airbag control module data comes back from forensics. The report is emailed to me as a PDF. I open it on my laptop at the station. Event timestamp, January 16th, 2025, 22 hours, 37 minutes. 0 seconds. Speed at deployment, 38 miles per hour. Brake application, none recorded. Throttle position, 11%. Seatbelt status, driver fastened, passenger unfastened, impact angle, driver's side leading. Consistent with a leftward rollover. Lateral G-forces, 4.2, duration of event, 1.8 seconds from initial impact to airbag deployment. I read the data 3 times. Then I pull up my own patrol log from that night and cross-reference the timestamps. The airbag module says the crash happened at 22:37. Hours 10:37 p.m. on January 16th. I found the vehicle at 01:43, hours 1:43 a.m. on January 17th, 3 hours and 6 minutes later. But here's the problem. I was on patrol that entire evening. I have my own log, and dispatch has the GPS transponder data from my cruiser. I passed mile marker 71 northbound at 22:15 hours, 10:15 p.m., 22 minutes before the recorded crash time. The field was empty. I passed the same spot again at 23:05 hours, 11:05 p.m., 28 minutes after the recorded crash time. The field was still empty. I would have seen headlights. I would have seen a vehicle off the road, especially one on its roof with the headlights pointed skyward. Visibility was unlimited. The moon was half full. There was no fog, no precipitation, no obstructions. I checked with dispatch. No other units were assigned to that sector between 2200 and 0100 hours. No civilian calls reporting a crash. No passing motorist flagging down help. No witnesses. I sit at my desk and document 3 working explanations. Hypothesis 1. The module clock is wrong. It's possible the vehicle's internal clock was never set correctly after manufacture, or it was manually adjusted by the owner and never corrected. If the clock was off by 3 hours, the event could have occurred at 1:37 a.m., 6 minutes before. I arrived on scene, but airbag control modules sync their clocks to GPS time whenever the ignition is active and the vehicle has a clear view of the sky. It's an automatic process. You can't manually adjust it. And it's very, very difficult to spoof GPS time without specialized equipment. It's not something a civilian would have access to. Hypothesis 2. The vehicle was placed in the field after the crash occurred elsewhere. Someone, maybe with a flatbed, maybe with a heavy-duty tow rig, moved the vehicle from the actual crash site and set it down in the field to stage a scene or dispose of evidence. But the roof damage is real. The airbags deployed under load. The module recorded impact forces of 4.2 lateral Gs. You can't fake that. You can't manually deploy airbags and generate a legitimate crash signature in the module without an actual crash. And if the vehicle was transported, there would be signs. Tire tracks from the transport vehicle. Equipment marks on the frame. Disturbed frost. Something. There was nothing. Hypothesis 3. I missed it. I passed the area twice, 22 minutes before and 28 minutes after the recorded crash time, and both times I didn't see the vehicle. Maybe I wasn't looking at the right angle. Maybe the headlights had already dimmed or shut off due to electrical failure. Maybe the terrain obscured my line of sight, but I know Route 19. I've driven that stretch 5 nights a week for 12 years. I know the sight lines. I know where the shoulder drops off and where the fields open up. A vehicle on its roof, 60 yards from the road, with headlights angled skyward, would have been visible. I would have seen it. I don't write a conclusion. I leave the case file open. 4 days after the incident, January 21st, Raymond Aldrich's employer contacts local PD to file a missing person report. He hasn't shown up for work, hasn't answered calls or texts, and hasn't been seen by co-workers or neighbors. Local PD opens a case. They run his credit cards, his phone records, his vehicle registration, all the standard traces. Last confirmed sighting, January 15th, evening, at a gas station 12 miles south of his residence. Surveillance footage shows Raymond Aldrich fueling the Honda Accord alone at 18:45 hours, 6:45 p.m. He pays at the pump with a credit card. He gets back in the car and drives off, heading north. That's the last time anyone saw him. The vehicle remains in the impound lot. The case file stays open, coded as unexplained single vehicle incident, no occupant located. I still patrol Route 19. I pass mile marker 71 twice a night, sometimes more. The field is empty now. The frost has melted and refrozen a dozen times over. The grass is matted down where the vehicle sat. But it's already starting to recover. I don't have an explanation for how a car with fresh rollover damage, deployed airbags, and an event log time-stamped at 10:37 p.m. on the 16th appeared in a field I'd cleared 28 minutes after that timestamp. I don't have an explanation for how a vehicle with no dirt, no grass, no fluid leaks, and no entry path ended up 60 yards from the road with no tracks leading to it. I don't have an explanation for where Raymond Aldrich is, or how he got out of a vehicle that was found with the driver's seatbelt still fastened. I just have the logs, the photos, the module data, the empty mailbox, the gas station footage, and an empty field that wasn't empty when I looked again. Some nights, when traffic is light, I slow down at mile marker 71. I aim the spotlight into the field. I check, just to be sure. The field stays empty, unresolved.